Well, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about using business activity queries or BAQ zones in Epicor version 10.2. My name is Karen Shanung and I'm working with CodaBears. I'm part of the CodaBears team and I will show several different ways that you can use BAQ zones and how they might benefit your company. Using BAQ zones can make looking up information more intuitive by using a find as you type style for your lookup. So here on this slide we'll show the overview of what I'll be covering today, and then the following slides will give more details on each subject. I will be covering what are BAQ zones, a BAQ zone for data entry, a BAQ zone within customizations, a BAQ zone displaying multiple field results, a BAQ zone displaying an image, and a BAQ zone displaying a web page, and then also talk about connecting your BAQ zone to a shortcut key, and then we'll review some samples. And I will show some actual examples in Epicor 10.2. So what are BAQ zones? BAQ zones are an option to use mainly on your key fields in Epicor for quicker and easier lookup of data. In the background, you start with creating a business activity query, and then you link that query to a specified table and field in extended properties to get the type as you go lookup functions on your fields. So first we'll talk about the BAQ zone for data entry. We follow the path in Epicor for system setup, system maintenance, and extended properties. And first we would have had to set up a business activity query, which is not shown in this demonstration. Hopefully you already know how to do that. And then to begin using a BAQ zone, you need to create your business activity query with the fields that you want to see in your results. Here I created a BAQ named BAQZ cust. It only has one field, the customer ID field. It's sorted by that field, and the field is added to the BAQ search tab in the BAQ. Then in the extended properties, I pull up the table, customer, and the field, customer ID, that I want to link my BAQ zone to, and choose the linked column, customer ID, the zone BAQ name, which as I mentioned was BAQZ cust here, and check the box for zone search on empty if we want to see all the results when nothing is typed into the search field. So here are the results for a BAQ zone for data entry. Any of the forms that have a customer ID to be filled in will have the little triangle on the right hand side of the field indicating there is a related BAQ zone. On the left we can see in the customer maintenance screen, if we start typing DAL and click the blue arrow, Dalton is the only customer resulting. We can then see that we should type in Dalton. On the right side we can see the order entry screen and the BAQ zone to choose which has the customer ID, and then clicking the blue arrow without typing anything brings up a list of all customers, and we can find our customer and double click it from the list to bring that customer ID into the customer field as desired. Next we're going to look at a BAQ zone within a customization, and that will start out the same way. Again, we begin by creating a business activity query with the fields that we want to see in our results. And here I created one named BAQZ container. It only has one field, which is the container ID field. It's sorted ascending by that field, and that field is added to the BAQ search tab in the BAQ. So again, in the extended properties, I pull up the table and field that I want to link my BAQ zone to. So in this case, it's the ship detail UD table, and the field name is container_C. So notice this time I'm linking to a UD table and custom field, and then next I choose the linked column, which is going to again be the container C. The zone BAQ name, BAQ Z container, and check the box again if we want to see all results when nothing is typed into the search field. An additional step here with the custom field is to fill in the like table and the like field. So we have the like table is the container header and the like field is the container ID. So again, we can see the results here with our BAQ zone within customizations. Any of the Epicor forms that have the custom field for container_C to be filled in will have a little triangle on the right hand side indicating there's a related BAQ zone. Here we can see the results in our customized customer shipment entry form. So when we clicked it with nothing in it, it shows the 3 container IDs that we have set up in our training database, and we can select one. Now we'll look at the BAQ zone displaying multiple field results. Similarly to the other 2 examples, we begin again by creating a business activity query with the fields that we want to see in our results. So in this case I created the BAQ Z part business activity query, and it has as many fields as we want to show, but the first one is part number, and it's sorted by part number, and part number is added to the BAQ search tab in the BAQ. So again, in the extended properties, I'll pull up the table and field name that we're going to link to. So part is the table name and field name is part number. Next I choose the linked column, which would be the part number is linked between this field name and our BAQ, and the zone BAQ name, which is the BAQ Z part, and then I'll check the box for zone search on empty so that we can see all the results when nothing is typed into the search field. So here are the results from a multiple field BAQ. So we can see again in any Epicor form that has the part field, we would see a triangle indicating there is a BAQ zone related to this field. And we can start typing in part of a part string, and here we can see we started typing in 00C, and so then we only get a list of parts that start with 00C after we click the little blue triangle. And again, we can double click one of the results to bring the value back into the part field. So part is one of the places that I can see this as most useful to many companies, since each company usually has a lot of part numbers. The next example we're looking at is a BAQ zone displaying an image. Again, we create a business activity queries with the fields that we want to see in our results. Here I created a BAQ named BAQ Z part image. It has a part number and a path to the picture of the part. But the first field is the part number, and it's sorted by part number, and part number is added to the BAQ search tab in the BAQ. So once we have the BAQ set up, again we go to the extended properties and pull up the table and field that I want to link my BAQ zone to, and in this case they're the same ones that I did my previous example on. So in the part table I'm using the part num field again, and I choose which linked column, which would be the part number column that I want to link to, and I choose my zone BAQ that I created from the drop down list, the BAQ Z part image BAQ, and then again I can check the box for zone search on empty if we want to see all the results when nothing is typed into the search field. So again, here are the results of that BAQ zone. Again, if we go to any of the Epicor forms that have the part field to be filled in, we have the little blue triangle on the right side indicating there is a related BAQ zone. Here we can see the results in part entry. To look up parts, if we enter DCD, for example, and then click the blue triangle, then we can see all the parts that begin with DCD and none of the other parts are shown. And then we can double click a part to bring it back in to the part search field, and then once we have done that, we can click on the triangle or hover over it, and we then get a picture of the based on the path that we put into the business activity query for the part. Similarly, we can do a BAQ zone displaying a web page. We create a business activity query with the fields that we want to see in our results. In this case, I created a BAQ named BAQZ Cust Web. It has a customer ID and a customer URL. And the first field is the customer ID, and it's sorted by customer ID, and customer ID is added to the BAQ search tab in the BAQ. Again, in the extended properties, I pull up the table and field that I want to link my BAQ zone to, so we have the table customer and the field name customer ID. Next, I choose the linked column, which is customer ID in this case, and the BAQ zone BAQ name, which is the BAQZ Cust Web. And then again, we can choose to click the zone search on empty if we want to see all the results when nothing is typed into the search field. So here are the results with using that BAQ zone displaying a web page. Again, in any of the Epicor forms that we have the customer ID field, we will see the little blue triangle on the right side of the field indicating there's a related BAQ zone. And then after the customer ID is entered, if we hover over the triangle pointer, we'll see the website as shown. So here we can show how we're connecting our BAQ zone to a shortcut key. We can set up a hotkey to launch our BAQ zones. First, you go to any form that has a BAQ zone field, and then next you go to the Tools menu and Options menu item. You click on the Global Options tab and the Hotkeys sub-tab, and notice the bottom item shows the current default for launching BAQ zones. You can change the default to be the key combination that you would like to use, or leave it as Control-Shift+I key. Pressing this key combination while you are in the field related to the BAQ zone will open the BAQ zone results instead of clicking the little blue triangle. Be sure if you do change that shortcut key to keep in mind other shortcut keys that are already used by Epicor. As you can see, some of them are listed here for certain items, and if you know of any other ones, don't use those, and just use an unused combination for your shortcut key. Now we can take a look at some examples in Epicor version 10.2. Here I have opened up the business activity queries that we created for BAQ zones. Here we can see the BAQZ parts query, and if we look at it, it's a simple query with just one table. We have displayed multiple fields in the table, and we are sorting by the part number, and then we also put the part number in the BAQ search like columns area. So now that BAQ is available to be attached to a BAQ zone. We also have a BAQ zone query for the part image. Again, it's a simple query as far as it only contains one table, and we are displaying only the part number and then a calculated field for the part image. So the part image we set up to be a character field which is 255 characters long, and it points to the path for the part image. And we have the path plus a placeholder for the part number plus the extension to include the part image in your BAQ zone. We can also see that this BAQ is sorted by the part number, and that we have the part number again in the like columns. So that BAQ is also available to be attached to a BAQ zone. We have our BAQ for the customer, and again it's a simple query with just the one table, the customer table, and we only have the customer ID available to display, and we also have that field in the sort by column and in the BAQ search, so that we can attach it to a BAQ zone additionally. And we have one more that is called the BAQ zone for the containers, and again it's a simple query where we only have one table, the container header, and we're only displaying one field, the container ID, and we're sorting by the container ID, and we can put it in the BAQ search like columns. So those are the BAQs created for the BAQ zones. Next we'll go to the extended properties, which are in system setup, system maintenance, and then there's extended properties. So in here you can bring up a table. So first we'll bring up the customer table, and then you expand to get to the field that you'd like, and we were looking at the customer ID field. So here's where we can attach a BAQ zone. So we tell it which column it's linked to, the customer ID, and which zone BAQ we want to use, in this case the BAQ Z cust, and then we can check if we want to still search if the field customer ID is empty, so that it shows us all customer IDs. You can fill in the like field and the format and label, etc., but you don't have to. These are basically the three different areas that you need to fill in for the BAQ zone to work. We'll go ahead and also see that example in the part, since we had the part table with a BAQ also. So we want to open up and get to the part number. That's where we would link our BAQ zone, and here we have part number, and we have BAQ Z part image. I'm going to change that to just BAQ Z parts, because the part images won't be available where I'm making this particular recording. So now we can look in the customer maintenance screen, and we can see that we can have a BAQ zone indicated by the blue triangle pointing to the right, and if you don't put anything in the customer ID field, all the values are shown, and you can select the customer, and then if you go ahead and clear the form, and instead of selecting a customer, if you start typing in one, type in one, and then press the little blue arrow, it'll show you any values that are existing for the customer ID. When there only is one returned, clicking on it to select it does not return it to the customer ID, but it does show you what the value should be in case you didn't know how to spell it or what the exact value was. So you would just go back to finish typing it in to bring in the customer. We can see the customer is available also on the sales order, so anywhere where the customer field requires the customer ID in, you have the availability for the little blue triangle to pick a particular customer. So here we can see there's two that start with ACE. So as long as you have more than one, it can be retrieved back into the customer ID. Otherwise, you need to type in the customer ID. So anywhere throughout the software that Epicor has, customer ID would have that little blue triangle. Here we have the example for the container. On a customer shipment entry on the lines tab, we added the container, and we can see the little blue triangle there. And most of the time you're not going to know a container ID, so you'll probably just be looking them up, and you can double click one to select it. The part I closed since we reattached it to a different BAQ zone, and if you already have the form open, it's not refreshed to the correct BAQ zone. So now I'm opening it again, and we'll be able to see if we click on the little arrow, you'll get the BAQ zone that had all the multiple fields, and you can sort by description if you don't know the part number, etc. Sort by the type, whatever you want to do. You can then select one, and it brings in the information for the part. And again, if you don't want to search all parts, we can clear this and say, for example, it starts with 00, then you click your little blue arrow, and you can see only the parts that start with 00 are in our list, and then you can pick your part and bring it back to the part maintenance screen. BAQ zones can be very useful to more easily find your data as an alternative to using the regular search buttons. If anyone has any other suggestions about additional fields that may be really useful for adding a BAQ zone lookup on, please leave a comment or send an email with a suggestion. Create your BAQ zones in your test, training, or pilot environments wherever your sandbox is located, and prove they work as you expect and have no issues before moving them to live. Thank you for watching.